You think they're loyal. You look into their eyes. You hear their promises. You feel their presence in your life, and you tell yourself, this one's different. This one will not betray me. But Machiavelli would laugh. He would tell you, quite plainly, no man is loyal unless loyalty benefits him. It's not cruelty. It's not pessimism. It's the pattern of power itself. And if you want to survive, no. If you want to thrive, you must know how to test loyalty without ever having to ask for it. Loyalty, you see, is cheap when nothing is at stake. Everyone claps when you're winning. Everyone praises you when there's an audience. But the true test? It begins when you're silent, when you're weak, when you're inconvenient. That's when masks fall. In politics, loyalty is bought and sold like stocks. In war, it's a temporary alliance of survival. In love, it's a performance until something better appears. Harsh? Yes, but useful. Because if you want real power, you must understand one thing. Those closest to you are your greatest threat. Julius Caesar thought Brutus was loyal. He treated him like a son, trusted him, gave him influence, power, a seat at the table. And what did Brutus do? He buried a dagger into Caesar's chest, right where his heart once believed loyalty lived. So if even Caesar was betrayed by the man he called friend, what makes you think you're safe? You must assume, always, that people are loyal to their needs, not to you. And the more power you have, the more you must disguise this truth behind smiles, handshakes, and rewards. This is where the real Machiavellian test begins, not with confrontation, but with subtlety. Start by watching them when they think you're not watching. Praise someone else in their presence. Make a decision that doesn't benefit them. Delay a favor. See who disappears. True loyalty survives discomfort. In the corporate world, we see this every day. A CEO is ousted, and suddenly the very executives who toasted him last month are silent. Or worse, they're celebrating behind closed doors, sending out resumes, aligning with the next rising star. And you think your coworker supports your promotion? Wait until you get it. Then count how many congratulate you, and how many avoid your eye. People reveal themselves when envy replaces admiration. So, how do you know who's loyal? Simple. You test them with silence, with pressure, with denial. You watch who defends you when you're not in the room. You observe who still shows up when there's no benefit to gain. But more than that, you structure your world so that loyalty is never assumed. It's earned, tracked, rewarded, and constantly tested. It's what real leaders do. Napoleon did not trust easily. He promoted based on merit, not flattery. He'd watch how a man behaved under fire, how he responded when denied glory, when wounded, when demoted. That's when character reveals itself, not in celebration, but in hardship. And yet, many today live with a fantasy that loyalty can be inspired through kindness alone, that if you're good to people, they'll be good to you, that if you love without condition, you'll be loved without betrayal. This is not morality. It is emotional gambling. You must understand, even your closest ally has a price. That doesn't mean you should become paranoid. It means you should become strategic. Don't expect loyalty. Engineer it. Give people a reason to stay loyal. Align their interests with yours. If you rise, they rise. If you fall, they fall. This is not manipulation. It is architecture. People remain loyal to what they depend on. In modern relationships, people test loyalty in all the wrong ways. They create drama. They provoke. They test by inflicting pain, hoping to see who stays. But the Machiavellian test is cleaner, simpler. Withdraw the benefit. See who still serves. Refuse attention. See who still reaches out. When you're no longer useful, do they still show up? If not, they were never loyal to you. They were loyal to what you gave them. This is why power reveals loyalty and powerlessness exposes betrayal. Because people don't follow you. They follow the direction of the wind. And when the wind changes, only a rare few keep their sails aligned with your ship. But even that rare few, don't trust blindly. Verify, test again, reward discreetly, and always keep the hierarchy visible. Because the moment people feel equal to you in power, they will question their need to stay loyal at all. Never make people comfortable in proximity to power. Let them enjoy it, benefit from it, aspire to be near it, but remind them through small denials that it is not theirs. This breeds both respect and caution, which together simulate loyalty, even if it's not sincere. And sometimes that's enough, because perfect loyalty is a myth. What you want is predictable loyalty. Loyalty that behaves a certain way under pressure, not from love, but from design. So don't ask them, are you loyal? Ask yourself, have I created a system where betrayal costs them more than staying true? The man who depends on your power will protect it. The one who has options will leave the moment yours are limited. Test them. Withdraw. Praise someone else. Delay reward. Lose power and see who still fights for your name. This is the Machiavellian game, and it's the only way to know who's truly yours. So, you want to know who's loyal? Good. Then let's stop pretending that loyalty is some automatic virtue. That just because someone laughs at your jokes, tags you in posts, or stands by you when things are easy, they're truly loyal. That's not loyalty. That's convenience. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Most people are loyal only to their needs, to their comfort, to their image, to their access to power. And when those needs change, so does their loyalty. You are not the exception. You are utility, whether you like it or not. Still feeling confident? Let's strip the illusion further. Most people mistake affection for loyalty. A friend tells you they love you. They do anything for you. A partner says you're their world. A co-worker praises your leadership. It feels good, doesn't it? But words cost nothing. And most loyal people are just good performers. They mirror your values, your energy, your worldview, until it no longer serves them. Then you'll see who they really are. Or rather, you'll see who they always were behind the mask. The question is, how do you get to that truth before it's too late? The answer is harsh, but it's effective. You don't discover loyalty in the light. You find it in the dark, when pressure mounts, when resources shrink, when status is threatened. That's where the mask cracks. That's where the truth leaks out. You see, Machiavelli didn't trust declarations of loyalty. He trusted incentives, fears, pressures, and proof. Words meant little. Only patterns mattered. So let me show you how to test loyalty, strategically, surgically, without delusion. Start by observing who stands by you when you have nothing to offer. Strip away your benefits. Remove the perks. Stop providing. Watch what happens. Does the connection remain, or does it wither? Most people are not with you. They're with a version of you that benefits them. And when you stop feeding their ego, their access, their comfort, they disappear. This is a first test. Starve them of what they want from you. Second, bring pressure into the equation. It doesn't have to be chaos. Just discomfort. Introduce a risk, a rumor, a shadow of disapproval from someone higher up. Maybe you're suddenly seen as controversial or inconvenient. Now ask, who distances themselves? Loyalty isn't loud when it's safe. But when you become dangerous, when your image costs them something, watch who stays. That's the one worth keeping. Even Jesus had Judas. And Judas didn't betray because he was evil. He betrayed because the offer was better. 30 pieces of silver. A new alignment. Self-preservation. That's not ancient history. That's modern psychology. People trade loyalty for survival every day. In offices, in friendships, in relationships, in politics. The betrayal isn't always dramatic. It's subtle. They let others talk behind your back. They don't correct the narrative. They stop defending you. They stop showing up. And then one day, you look around and realize you were alone all along. That's how betrayal works. Not with a stab, but with absence. Quiet exits. Moral justifications. I just didn't want to get involved. But let's talk about a more sophisticated test. Create a false choice. Offer a situation where someone you trust has to choose between your interest and theirs. A promotion, a deal, a chance to gain more. If only they step over you just a little, or stay silent, or take credit for something you built. See what they choose. That's not manipulation. That's clarity. That's what kings and CEOs do when they're playing long games. They engineer scenarios to see who's a parasite and who's a pillar. This isn't paranoia. It's realism. Why? Because the cost of trusting the wrong person is too high. Empires have fallen not because of their enemies, but because of misplaced trust in friends. Caesar didn't fear the Gauls. He feared Brutus, and rightly so. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about becoming cold or cynical. It's about becoming wise. You can have people around you. You can love and trust and build. But you must test before you trust. You must verify before you rely. Because blind faith is not loyalty, it's weakness. There's another layer most people miss. Watch how they talk about others, not how they talk to you. Do they gossip? Do they laugh when someone else falls? Do they change how they speak depending on who's in the room? Good. Now reverse engineer that. Because how they treat others when those people aren't around, that's exactly how they'll treat you when you're not in the room. It's all projection. If they betray others easily, they'll betray you just the same. Maybe not today, but eventually. One of the greatest illusions people live under is thinking they're the exception. That just because someone's nice to them, they're immune. But betrayal doesn't discriminate. It's opportunistic. It just waits until the stakes are high enough to justify it. Let's make this even more real. In the corporate world, loyalty is a currency and a gamble. Most people are loyal upward and disposable downward. They'll smile at the CEO and throw the intern under the bus. That tells you everything. True loyalty is revealed when there's no reward. I once watched a man get fired over something his manager did, but the manager said nothing. Let the guy take the fall. Said it was complicated. Loyalty? No, that's cowardice covered in professionalism. You've seen this too. Someone gets caught. Someone gets blamed. And those who claim to be loyal vanish like smoke. Why? Because their loyalty was conditional. Their image was more important than their integrity. And yet, you still trust people too easily. You want to believe in loyalty as a moral good, as something sacred, noble, romantic. But here's the uncomfortable truth Machiavelli forces us to swallow. Loyalty is not an emotion. It is a calculation. It is a product of aligned interests, tested integrity, and shared consequences. Without those, loyalty is just decoration. Even in love, the same principle applies. How many people say forever when the passion is high, when life is good, when they're being adored? But what happens when you fall? When you're depressed? When you lose a job, or your looks fade, or someone better walks into their life? What happens when staying loyal costs them something? You already know. They rewrite history. They say you changed. They say this isn't working. They say they deserve to be happy. And they leave with a clean conscience because modern culture worships self-interest disguised as self-care. So if you want to know who's truly loyal, watch who stays when staying has no reward. Better yet, watch who suffers with you. Not just stands next to you, but sacrifices something for you. Time, reputation, opportunity. That's not casual loyalty. That's real. That's rare. And it should be rewarded, protected, and honored. But here's a bitter pill. Most people fail these tests. And that's okay, because you don't need many loyal people. You just need a few, maybe one, maybe two. The rest? Let them orbit. Let them talk. Let them think they know you, but never give them the power to hurt you. Keep them close but measured, friendly but watched, charming but disposable. Yes, disposable. Because when someone shows you that their loyalty is for sale, you must never forget the price. Once you see that truth, you cannot unsee it. And to ignore it is to invite ruin. Now, a warning. When you begin to live like this, strategically, observantly, unapologetically, people will accuse you of being paranoid, cold, manipulative. That's fine. Let them. Because here's what they don't understand. You've simply stopped playing the fool. They want you blind, soft, unguarded, because that makes you easier to use, easier to manipulate, easier to discard. But when you test for loyalty, when you withhold trust until it's earned, you become dangerous. You become sovereign. You become untouchable. So test them. Not once, not dramatically, subtly, consistently, over time. Test them when you're weak. Test them when you're strong. Test them when there's power on the table. Test them when you're out of favor. And remember, loyalty that has never been tested isn't loyalty at all. It's just a theory. And theories don't protect kings, or emperors, or men who want to build something that lasts. Only truth does. So stop asking, who says they're loyal to me? Start asking, who has proven they are? And act accordingly. Because in this world, you don't rise by trusting easily. You rise by trusting wisely. And that is a far greater power. Loyalty. The word rolls off the tongue like it means something deep, noble, timeless. But once you peel away the fantasy, what you find underneath is much colder and much more useful. Because here's what no one wants to say out loud. Loyalty can be manufactured. Yes, created, engineered, designed. Not from love, not from blind faith, but from necessity, from fear, from ambition, from emotional leverage. You think people follow kings because they're morally aligned? No, they follow kings because they're afraid of what happens if they don't. Or because they benefit more by staying in his shadow than stepping out into the light alone. This is not cynicism. It's psychology. And if you want to survive, to lead, to rule your world, you need to stop waiting to receive loyalty and start learning how to create it. The weak hope for loyalty. The strong design the conditions that make betrayal too costly. Let me say that again, make betrayal too costly. You want loyalty? Make sure they lose something if they leave you. Not emotionally. Strategically. Let's start with fear, not of pain, but of loss. Loss of access. Loss of reputation. Loss of protection. People stay loyal when walking away means walking into uncertainty. When cutting ties with you means losing something they can't get elsewhere. You become irreplaceable. Not because you're nice or moral or sentimental, but because you're strategically vital. This is why the mob makes it clear. Once you're in, there's no out. Not because they're cruel, because that rule ensures loyalty. It's not personal. It's structural. It's Machiavellian. You want your allies to think twice before turning. You want them calculating. If I betray him, I don't just lose his favor. I lose everything that comes with it. Status. Protection, leverage. This is why in politics, alliances are brokered not by affection, but by mutual dirt. Each side knows something about the other. Each holds leverage, mutually assured destruction. So they stay close, not because they like each other, but because betrayal now means suicide. Loyalty by necessity. Now, in the real world, you won't always have dirt on people. You don't need to, but you do need leverage. Think of it like this. Give people just enough benefit from your presence that your absence will be noticeable. Make your presence profitable, your approval desirable, your favor exclusive. Let them feel seen, protected, elevated by being close to you. And then withhold that favor the moment their loyalty becomes uncertain. Most people are not inherently loyal or disloyal. They are reactive. They shift to where the light shines brightest. So make sure you control the switch. Let's get more specific. In a corporate setting, you don't want people loyal to you as a personality. You want them loyal to your vision, your system, your method. If you leave and everything collapses, you had obedience, not loyalty. True loyalty is when they carry your banner even when you're not in the room, when they defend your name not because you're perfect, but because your success includes their success. And this brings us to another uncomfortable truth. Loyalty is rarely about you. It's about what people believe they gain or lose through association with you. That's why the powerful make loyalty aspirational. They create circles, inner rings, exclusive access, emotional intimacy, and then they let people earn their way in. Loyalty to others must never cost you loyalty to your own judgment. You know who they are. You've seen the signs, felt the shift, heard the excuses. So why are you still holding on? Because deep down, you're afraid of being alone. You'd rather have counterfeit loyalty than face the silence of solitude. But Machiavelli would tell you that silence is your strength. In that silence, you can rebuild your court, recast your alliances, purge the rot, fortify the castle. Better to walk alone than be surrounded by those waiting for you to fall. So walk alone if you must, and build from there. Because when you stop tolerating half-hearted loyalty, something happens. You attract the rare ones, the real ones, the few whose loyalty isn't about convenience, but about conviction. And once you find them, guard them, reward them, build empires with them. Because loyalty, true loyalty, is a foundation of power that lasts. And if you never learn how to test for it, you'll never know who deserves to sit at your table. Loyalty is not love. It's not friendship. It's not kindness. It's not virtue. Loyalty is a weapon, a currency, a mirror of power. And once you understand this, truly understand it, everything changes. Because now you stop asking who is loyal, and you start asking something much more dangerous. How can I use loyalty to dominate? See, the goal isn't to be liked. The goal isn't to feel safe. The goal isn't even to surround yourself with people who have your back. The goal is to control the game. And in this game, loyalty is leverage. It's the emotional chain that ties others to your cause. It's the hidden hand that makes people defend you when you're not in the room, take bullets you never see coming, and carry your name like a holy relic, even when you fall. But here's the dark truth. If you can create loyalty, you can also weaponize it. Let's break this open. Start with betrayal. Most people see betrayal as the end. You trusted someone, they turned, and now you're broken, paranoid, embarrassed. That's how the weak think. But the Machiavellian sees betrayal as data. It reveals motive. It clarifies intention. It unmasks character. It is the most honest act someone will ever commit against you, because it's not filtered through politeness or fear. It's raw. It's real. It tells you, this is what I value more than you. So what do? You study it. Don't just react. Learn. Ask yourself, what did they gain by betraying me? What did they believe I couldn't give them? What did they think they could get away with? Because in their disloyalty, they revealed not just themselves, but your blind spots. Now you fix them. You tighten your systems. You make sure the next betrayal costs more than it rewards. And if you're smart, you use the betrayal itself as leverage. Let's say a partner betrays you in business. They spread lies. They take clients. They try to poison your name. Fine. You don't just punish them. You turn the betrayal into a symbol. You expose it, not for revenge, but as a story, a warning, a lesson. You say to the world, look at this man. I gave him power. I gave him favor. And he used it against me. Now watch what I do to men like that. And then you rise anyway. You rebuild. Publicly. Strategically. Not in silence, but in full view. Because your success after betrayal is the sharpest blade you'll ever carry. It tells the world, you can strike me, but I do not fall. That kind of resilience makes people kneel. It makes even your enemies cautious. It tells your circle, I am not a man to be betrayed. I am a man to follow. This is the alchemy of loyalty. Now let's go deeper. You don't just want people to stay loyal. You want them addicted to staying loyal. An addiction requires need. So you create need. You embed yourself into their success, into their identity, into their future. You make yourself the axis on which their ambition turns. You introduce them to networks they'd never reach without you. You train them in ways they can't unlearn. You shape their thinking, their vision, their strategies, until your voice is in their head even when you're gone. That's not friendship. That's power. When someone's rise is tied to your shadow, they'll never walk too far from it. Now here's the twist. Sometimes the best way to create loyalty is to withhold it. Give people a taste. Then pull away. Let them feel the absence. Let them chase it. That tension. The space between what they want and what they can't quite reach. That's the breeding ground of loyalty. People don't become loyal to what's easy. They become loyal to what's earned, to what's rare, to what makes them better. So give them challenges. Give them tests. Make them rise to your standard. Make your approval a currency they crave. And when they finally get it, when you look them in the eye and say, you've proven yourself, that moment becomes sacred. They'll protect it like a crown. This is what cult leaders do, what generals do, what kings do. They don't hand out loyalty. They make people bleed for it. And once you've bled for something, you don't abandon it easily. Now, let's flip the board. What about fake loyalty? You know the type, the smiles, the praise, the constant yes. But beneath it, envy, quiet resentment, silent rebellion. These people are more dangerous than open enemies because they move like ghosts. You won't see the knife until it's already in your back. So, how do you spot them? Watch how they react when you fail. Watch their face when someone else praises you. Watch their eyes when you're not looking. The disloyal hide in shadows. But shadows move if you shine the right light. So test them. Give them small amounts of power. See what they do with it. Give them chances to speak honestly. See if they flatter or tell the truth. Let them think you're weak. See if they pounce. And when they fail those tests, don't confront them. Distance them. Quietly. Surgically. Permanently. Disloyalty doesn't always need a war. Sometimes, it just needs a door to close behind them while they're still smiling. This is how kings survive. Not by trusting everyone, but by trusting no one blindly. Only fools believe that loyalty is forever. Only fools think that time guarantees truth. Time guarantees nothing but exposure. The longer someone stays, the more they reveal. Watch. Wait. Test. And when you find the rare ones, the loyal few, keep them. Sharpen them. Feed them. But never forget, they are still human. And every human has a price. So make sure you always know what it is. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's status. Sometimes it's simply the feeling of being needed. Once you know their price, you can predict their limits. Once you know their limits, you control the risk. Now, let's end with something few will dare to say. You don't just test loyalty in others. You test loyalty in yourself. Because in the climb toward power, you will be tempted to betray those who helped you, to discard those who once believed in you, to choose a throne over the hands that built the stairs. And sometimes, that's the right move. Sometimes, evolution requires detachment. But ask yourself, what kind of king do you want to be? Because your legacy won't just be written by your victories. It will be written by who remained loyal to you when they had every reason not to. And sometimes, that loyalty comes back in ways you never expect. When you're weak, when you fall, when the world turns, and that one man steps out of the crowd and says, I still follow him. That's a kind of wealth you can't fake. So be ruthless when you must. But never forget that the most powerful throne in this world is not built of gold. It is built of loyalty, tested, earned, weaponized, and remembered. And those who master it, they don't just survive. They become legends. Now you know. Don't ask who is loyal. Test them. Train them. Build them. Use them. And if they fail, bury them. With silence. Because in the world of power, loyalty isn't a hope. It's a choice. Yours.